Discussing aviation and aerospace, we have with us Eric Kohn, Chairman of Barron's Financial Services, an advisory banking firm based in Geneva with a subsidiary in London. Now, Eric, first of all, industrial weakness in the US appears to be overshadowing this growth in the aerospace sector. But how is it able to buck this trend, and is it sustainable as well?
Well, I've just come back from an aerospace conference in the United States. I think it's at the moment able to buck the trend because there's a lead lag time. You can't turn off the production and turn on the production of aircraft. And both Boeing and Airbus have been very cautious about the production quantities, not to end up in a situation that they have in the past where there's a boom or bust cycle. The other thing is, there's no question about it, airline travel is developing. I think the aerospace industry on the civil side will be hit by the Russians tending to buy their own aircraft now because of the difficulties between Russia and the US. But despite that, Airbus has just expanded its production, and both of them are looking to Asia for the biggest market. So I think it's slightly different because it's an investment product, and any downturns will take time for the market to see. Although one of the interesting things will be, with all these new aircraft being produced, what will happen to the second-hand aircraft that they're replacing.
Okay. Well, if we turn our attention now to Europe, there's this package proposed by the European airport industry that suggests moving away from an airline-centric approach and increasing connectivity in Europe. What are your thoughts on this proposal that's supposed to take effect from December?
I think the European airports industry need to remember that airports are for aeroplanes to land on it and for airlines to use it. Some airports really regard themselves as a supermarket rather than an airport, and sustain themselves on the retail business and on the parking. Clearly, connectivity by rail is quite important. It helps an airport to develop considerably. Equally, it's also a competitor to airports. But I think at the end of the day, airports should focus on airlines and not worry about connectivity, especially as I don't see the airports being able to agree among themselves.
Okay, interesting. Well, lastly, for say, a report in India is suggesting that if policy measures are adopted in a timely fashion, then their industry can boom up to 10 times to $250 billion by 2025. Is this just far-fetched, or should other airports and economies look to adapt their measures too?
Well, I think the Indian one is somewhat extreme. India is growing. It's full of educated people. But for airlines to be able to operate internally and to have that sort of growth, you need to have income levels of a sufficient height that they can afford airline travel. The railways are relatively cheap, and keeping an airline secure and safe, if you take EasyJet or you take Ryanair, you have a few cheap tickets, but most of the tickets move up on the price. And often the average coupon price of an EasyJet or a Ryanair is higher than that of a scheduled airline. So I think it's a great aspiration, but it all depends on the economy and salaries and how much disposable income people have. Clearly the numbers of people are available, the railways are overcrowded, but if people don't have the money to spend on airline tickets, any expansion will be without any success.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Eric, thank you for coming in today.
Pleasure.
And thank you for watching. Be sure to click back to Dukoscopy TV for more updates and exclusive interviews. We'll see you next time.